Hello everybody, my name is Jeff Cook, owner of Cook Films, and today we're going to be talking about lighting. Lighting is very important to film and videography because TV and film has a 2D dimensional surface. Now if we were to add light in a certain way, we can make things pop out as almost if there's a 3D effect. So that's what I want to talk to you about today, and how you can go about lighting interviews and what kind of lighting would be best. So if you want to use just house lights, just the lights that are in the above in the ceiling, that's what this would look like. Right now I don't have any artificial light. I just have the window light, which is very pleasing if you can get the light at a certain time. So I choose to use this light because one, I don't have to bring out my lights, but two, it's really soft. So if you're going to interview someone and you don't have any lights and you do have a window and you feel like you can sit your subject near the window and get them lit the way you want, I would highly suggest doing that versus using the lights that are in the ceiling, the house lights, because this is going to be softer and the house lights cast a shadow on people when you're just using those. You know, the light from the sun has a CRI of 100. That means it's pure 100% quality light. Now, some of the fluorescent lights that are in buildings that you kind of see a green tint, those are real low in CRI. I think they're like around 60 or 70. The LED lights are around 80. Up now they're getting close to 100. So here we have a typical interview setup. We have the camera, we have the person who's conducting the interview, and then we have the key light. So it's a sandwich. The person who's doing the interview needs to be in between the key light and the camera. Now, like I said, I like a kicker off to this side. The kicker is behind the individual somewhat, but just enough to glaze, just a little bit to get a little bit of light on the left-hand side of their face, and then you can also have a background light hitting the backdrop or whatever is in the background, or you could have a top light shining directly on the top of his head. That's usually in news and different types of videos, but those are two different ways. You can also, if you don't like the kicker, you could also have a fill light on this side, and the fill light's not as strong as the key light. Key light is the main source in this, so you would want to lower the amount of light coming from this light. So we'll call this the fill, and just enough to fill this side of the face if you want that look. That's the typical way of doing an interview. Now sometimes you don't need that fill. Maybe you just need the kicker and maybe a key light and a kicker. I personally don't like fills. You can use a fill, but if you don't have that light, you can put a white piece of cardboard right here and it will pretty much do the same thing. You want the cardboard to be a little bit closer because the bounce light from the kicker will bounce off of the white cardboard and then reflect onto the person's face. Depending on the mood of your video or the interview, you might want to change the way you light. You can use one light if you wanted to. If it was a very dramatic interview, you might not need a fill light. You might just need one light, and one light will do it. You just put the key light close to the subject and it will fill the right side of the face or the left side, depending on where you want the light to be, and you'll have a great interview. And remember, the closer the light, the softer the look is going to be. A lot of people think that when they bring the light close to the subject, it's going to be really bright and really harsh. It is going to be bright, but it's going to give you a softer look. Here's an example. So this is a demonstration of how light gets softer when it's closer to the subject. So right now it's pretty sharp. The image is sharp. Look at the hand in the background on the shadow. And when I bring my hand closer, it's a lot more softer. Harder, softer. I usually have my light about 3 to 6 feet away from the subject, and I have a nice softbox on that. Now the softbox gives it even a nicer, softer look, and when it's being closer to the subject with the softbox, it's just that much softer, and you're not going to see really any harsh shadows. And it's really pleasing on women as well as men, but you don't want anything that's too harsh. The smaller the light source, the harder the light's going to be. So if you only have a small light, you might want to use a diffuser where you diffuse the light and make sure that the diffusion is a lot larger than the light itself, and then you can create a nice soft look for your interview. So it doesn't really matter if you have a soft light, it matters on what you put in front of that light. And if the source becomes large because of the fact that you're putting something in front of it that's larger than the light itself, your look is going to be a lot softer. The light's going to look softer, and it's going to look a lot more pleasing on the individual. I hope you find this interesting. Share it with someone that you think can benefit from it, and I'll catch you next time.